Hello, my roses. This is Budgeting Rose, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about the movie Fun with Dick and Jane. I recently watched it, and I was just like, oh my god, this would be perfect for my channel. I love movies. These are people we're doing stuff with finances, and boom, this is where we are. So if you've never watched the movie, this is all going to be a spoiler alert. So you have been warned. Go watch it, come back, let's discuss. Let's get started. Oh, let me actually first give you a little summary of what the movie's about. So the movie is about a married couple. The man is Dick. Well, the man's name is Dick and the woman's name is Jane. They have one kid, a boy, and a dog. They live in the suburbs and they look like they're doing pretty well. But it's a movie, so of course, the shenanigans ensue. So they're living above their means, beyond their means. So of course you're like, what does that mean? So we see that they have a mortgage. So you're like, okay, everybody has a mortgage. If you own a house, you have a mortgage. Yeah, okay. They have a nanny for their son. And you're like, if we could all get a nanny for our sons, we'd get a nanny. Yeah, that's not the problem. They have a leased car, BMW. So of course you're like, Rosie, you have a leased vehicle. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, I'm pointing out what they have. They took out a second mortgage. Basically, it must be they refinanced. And then they used it to redo the kitchen and, some other upgrades onto the house. And then they're living paycheck to paycheck like the rest of us. And of course, that means you're one paycheck away from disaster. And that's what we're all trying to get away from. So, great news happens. Dick gets a promotion. Oh my god, more money coming in. Yay! So then what did they do? He got a promotion. Of course, they increase expenses. That's what we all do until we learn Dave Ramsey's rules. So that was the wrong thing to do. That's what they did. And that's what I would have done too before Dave Ramsey. They start putting in a pool in the backyard. So that's an expense. Jane quits her job because Dick was like, oh yeah, I got promoted to VP, so we'll have more money. You don't have to work. Boom, she quits her job. The first issue was they don't know how much money he got on that raise. So when Dick was telling her to quit her job, he didn't know what his salary was going to be. And before you know his salary, you can't be making changes in your life. And also, Dave says don't make any changes. You need to fix your life. Fix your life first. So we'll discuss that in a little bit. Okay, so he got a promotion. So you're like, what's the problem? Yeah, the problem is the company he works for, Globodyne, goes under. It straight up, you're like, what goes under? It disappears. It files for bankruptcy. They have no money. Their stock was like up here and they went to zero. It's gone. So you're like, oh, okay, he can just find a new job. Yeah, so he lost his job. He didn't get a severance, which is like, oh, money you get. I don't know. I've never had a job that gives me severance. But in his job, I'm assuming he would have had like a severance pay. Like, okay, we're letting you go right now, but then here's a couple of $1,000 to float you for the next months while you find another thing. Sorry, bro, but we love you, but you gotta go. I don't think he got that. He invested, him and everybody in the company, they bought stocks in the company. Their pension was in the company. So everything they had when the company disappeared and failed, they lost it all. That was just it. It was gone. Boom. Zero. You got nothing. You're screwed. Then a funny thing happened. It's not funny at all though, but it made me think. So in the beginning we saw them put in the lawn, putting in the grass, and it's that cool, like it looks like a carpet and then they just roll it out and like pat it down and whatever else they do. So I always call it like carpet grass. So yeah, they couldn't afford it and the company the lawn company came and took it back out. And so their neighbors were out there looking, and we're all just knowing what's going on with you. So super embarrassing, a little bit hilarious, and like thinking like, oh my God, you wouldn't think grass would get repossessed. Oh yeah, it got repossessed. They got repoed. So that's how far, like, they had no money. Then they were putting in a pool in the backyard, so they stopped working on that. So there was just a big hole in their backyard. And at one point, they just get so low, they were just sitting in the hole, Dick and Jane. So it just really, I felt it for them. I felt it. That was real. That was real. You've been fired. You have no money coming to this house. Real. All right, so you need to make a plan. Your income is gone. You need to decide, do other. So they do make good decisions. First, they sell the leased vehicle and they get a $500 car, which they paid cash. Great. They start selling everything in the house. So they take the TV, all the other stuff they have, because they have a lot of expensive stuff. They take it out. Oh, I need to mention, so they can no longer afford to pay for the nanny, but they were able to pay her with like appliances, and she took it. So that was pretty cool. They get other jobs. So the other jobs that they got, so Dick actually so first of all, he tried to get other VP positions of the same caliber he had been in when he was promoted, but he just kept going in, not getting interviews, not getting callbacks, all of that. He did get one callback, but then it was like, it turned out they were just making fun of him. First of all, we saw like he had to literally fight like 100 other men who were running for that interview. And then in the end, he was never going to get the job. They just like made fun of him because, this big thing had happened when he was losing his job because of the promotion. You have to watch the movie. And then, so he's just like the laughing stock of his industry. And they made a whole like video, and they have like, his name is now a verb. Okay. It's serious when your name becomes a verb in a negative connotation. I think they called it like pulling a dick or something. Anyway, I don't remember. So the jobs they had after he got fired, after he lost his job. So Dick was a greeter at a Walmart-like store. Then he got fired from that. He became a day laborer. So you're like, what's a day laborer? So over here in New Jersey, there'll be people, men mostly, who they hang out at like Home Depot, and then they wait for people who come out, or construction people, or just regular people who have a project they need help with, and then they'll quickly hire somebody from off the street to go help them with that project. So we see Dick in that line of work, and of course, usually they're immigrants, and then usually some of them, I'm assuming, are not documented. So we see a scene where like Dick ends up in not having an ID, getting taken up by INS, and is it INS? Did they change their name? I don't remember. The Immigration Bureau. I don't really remember their name. I apologize, guys. He's swept up by the government, and then, they have to make a run for it. So that was like crazy. It was hilarious, but it's not. It's, that's somebody's reality. So it was good. I like that they incorporated, like, he couldn't get a VP-ship, you know what I mean? And they incorporated, like, real life things he would be doing. So Jane, she gets a job as a fitness instructor. That didn't go well because, like, she didn't know the type of fitness they hired her for, but she needed the job, so she just took it. And then she ended up getting fired. And then later she does she's a cosmetic tester, and she was paid $14 for it. But then she was one of the few people who was allergic, so her face was just blown up. So we definitely know that was $14, and then that was it. So later they decide so that was the get other jobs, but they weren't making enough. So they start robbing places, like legit hold a gun and rob a business. So obviously I don't advocate that. That's, we shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have done that because that's illegal stuff. You don't want to be caught up in illegalness, because that's only, you'll get quick cash maybe, but the moment you're caught, Dick and Jane are parents. They're going to lose their child. They'll both be in jail for a long period of time, And then what happens to their baby? Okay, so in the end, they robbed the CEO of their company, who basically, it was his fault that the company went under and he screwed the people. And they're able to, well, this isn't a spoiler, they're able to get the right money they were rightfully owed through robbing him in like a way he can't undo. So at least there was a positive in that everybody's got their money back. But, you know, we don't want to be doing these kind of things. Let's just stay doing legal things and get our money up. So, of course, what would I recommend for them to do before all the company fell and all that stuff? So I would have told them to follow Dave Ramsey's baby steps. They needed to become current on their bills. So this is before the company fell. And then start do an emergency fund of $1,000, pay off all their debt besides the mortgage. Then after they finished all the other debt, then now they could focus on their mortgage and pay it off. So then now when he was getting the promotion, they would have put that promotion extra money towards paying off their debt quicker. So don't make any changes. Jane still has to work. Don't make any changes to your life. Don't put a pool. Don't do other things. Know exactly how much he is getting paid. Don't increase expenses. Get all, you know, pay off your debt quicker. And then now when the company went under, they would have been in a better position. Oh, and then this is the other thing, because you're like, oh, well, then why didn't they just sell the house? So where they lived, everybody there was, this is how they stated it. They all worked for the company Globodyne, which is the company that went under. So their house actually was devalued. So they couldn't sell for a profit or sell just to get out of the mortgage. They would have had a loss of like $100,000 plus. So it wasn't going to sell or work. But they didn't try it, but that's just like in the movie, Jane says that. So they couldn't get out of that just at least. So now you know. Anyway, if you guys have watched this movie, let me know what you guys thought. If you haven't, go watch it. Come back. Let me know what you thought. And I'm kind of loving like being able to tie movies I watch back into finances, because yeah, everything in our lives has finances in it. So I find it interesting. Hopefully you guys are finding it interesting, and I would love to discuss back and forth with you guys. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And my roses, be safe, keep each other safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, my roses. Bye.